Welcome to ACV's In the Passenger Seat.
What's up, Tyler? Man, I am tickled to death. You are in the passenger seat this week. So for people who don't know, this is Tyler Beresford. He is our senior manager of our IST team, which is inside sales. Now, Tyler, how long have you been with ACV?
I've been with ACV just about 5.5 years now.
So you're kind of like an OG then, right? You've seen it evolve, right?
Seen some things.
Right. And now what are your responsibilities with ACV?
Currently, as a senior manager, I oversee a majority of our buyer reps on the team. So what our buyer reps are here to do, we have a focus on our buyers. It's that sole individual look at how do we help the buyers on ACV not only buy more vehicles, but they're buying the right vehicles, the vehicles that are going to work best for them.
Right. So let's break that down, right? Let's talk about a buyer's journey. One, what does it take to get on ACV to be a buyer? And then how do we support them in their needs, right? We, like you said, we want to make sure they get the right cars, right? We want to make sure they get the best experience possible. So what does that look like? Explain to me, I'm a new buyer, I want to get on ACV, what do I do?
Go to acvauctions.com to start. So there you're going to get a good idea. You know, we do a brief rundown of the platform. The thing about our dealers is we know a lot of them have been buying cars for a really long time.
Sure.
But they may not know how to buy cars on ACV.
Right.
So when you sign up on acvauctions.com, you're going to go to the website, you're going to provide some basic info, and then we're going to have a team, our compliance team, that reaches out to just obtain a couple of basic things as far as our dealer's license, a resale certificate. Once we have everything that we need and you're ready to basically move forward, we assign you a business development rep.
Gotcha.
And what that rep is going to be there to do is to walk you through that first purchase, right? Again,
Little hand holding maybe?
exactly.
Gotcha.
What are maybe some of the things that are unique to ACV, maybe not so unique to the car buying experience itself?
Right.
And how the platform works. We launch thousands of cars every single day.
Yep.
How do we get you to just be looking at the ones that you want to see?
Right.
So from there, once you feel comfortable, we're in a position to kind of know what we're looking for here, and we're ready to buy that first car. We make it happen, we pull the trigger, and then as soon as that happens, that's when we really move you forward in your ACV journey.
So that's when you step in.
Exactly.
Okay.
So from there, you're going to be assigned a buyer rep.
Okay.
So again, our buyer rep is going to be there to really help push that further. We got one out of the way.
Right.
That's the hard part,
That's
right?
the hard part. You got them engaged, you got them buying, you got them place a bid, all that good stuff.
Yep. So now how do we look at being strategic,
Right.
right? How do we understand where you are in the country? Like what are the needs of you and your dealership, and what are the things that ACV uniquely can provide to really make that a better experience?
Because each buyer is different, right? They're looking at different cars, you know, when they bid throughout the day, their whole, like you haven't seen the same deal do the same thing, right?
Nope.
Gotcha.
Everybody's got their own thing. So the great thing with ACV, right, we have, as I mentioned, thousands of cars every single day. Even if you're cruising the site every single day, which we got some guys that do that.
We do.
You can't catch everything, right? And all of our dealer partners know this. They wearing a lot of different hats throughout the day. They have to worry about their business, employees, customers coming in. You can't be looking at the site every single time.
Right.
So how am I going to set that up for you as a buyer too? When there's a car, you know you have an interest in something that's going to truly help you out. How do I get that to show up on your phone? Or how do I get a text message to come through and alert you that, hey, there's a vehicle that we know you told us you want.
You like, right.
That fits all the criteria. Let's get you on and go from there.
Right. So what does the structure look like? Like, you know, does you know, how many, I won't say how many phone calls you guys make a day, but, you know, do you have dealers that are probably a little bit more engaged and some that aren't? You know, how do you manage that? How do you juggle that task?
Every dealership's got different needs.
Right.
We have dealerships that they're going to come in, they're going to buy 2 or 3 cars in a month. We have dealers that come in that are buying 30, 40, 50. So to that point of finding the right need for each dealer, so the buyer rep's going to sit there and understand is this a larger volume we need to work off of?
With the people that you know are part of the inside sales team, IST, how is it designated to the buyers? Is it centralized? Is it regionalized? Is it by zip codes? How do you guys break that down and bring that credibility to the buyers that they say, hey, I know I can get a hold of this person, whatever that may look like?
Similarly to how our field team operates, where we have territory managers structured throughout the entire country, every single territory across the country right now has a designated buyer rep.
Okay.
So the importance of that is a couple of things, right? One is that the territory manager, while they're out in person talking to dealers, they know who their person is on the inside, right?
Okay.
They might have a slight more focus on trying to get listings, right? To get sellers on the platform.
Right.
So we have our buyer reps there with the sole designated focus to just the buyers on the platform, so they can direct them the right way.
So 1 second. So IST is assigned to buyers in the field and also assigned to a territory manager. So basically, you got like 3 people on a team together.
Exactly.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
And then to that point, right, we know that somebody that's in Washington, D.C. as a buyer might be dealing with different things in the market or in the immediate
Exactly.
area
Yep.
as somebody that's down in Texas or somebody that's over in California.
Right.
So we are broken up regionally.
Okay.
Right. So if you're a buyer rep that has coverage down in the Mid-South, all of the dealers you work with are going to be in the Mid-South. You can really get attuned to what's happening in their lives. When you talk to that many dealers per day, you get a really good feel for what's going on in their lives, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to hear a lot of similar themes, a lot of things that are going on that, frankly speaking, if you weren't in front of the dealer, you wouldn't otherwise know.
Yeah, because you're building that relationship. And that's one thing that we want to do is we want to build the relationships with our buyers so they know, hey, I know that I have a team working with me to get this car and build off of that. What are the hours? Like, what are you guys is it 8 to 4? I know we have teammates, like you said, across the country in different time zones, right? We got California, who's 3 hours behind us. How do you accommodate those needs? Because that can be kind of a juggling act as well.
Absolutely. It's something that we have to think about, right? And even uniquely how ACV Auctions is set up, we run auctions from 8 o'clock in the morning until midnight, sometimes past that.
Yep.
We have our team structured accordingly, right? We have coverage we have an East Coast team, we have a Central team, and we have a West team.
Okay.
And we have if-big coverage, so deal-making coverage throughout the entire time.
Okay.
Granted, at different times, there's different people coming and going and whatnot, but anytime you're reaching out to that main line and there's between the hours of 8 and I would say probably about 10 p.m. right now,
Right.
there's somebody willing to sit there and take that call and try and help you out to get the deal closed or figure out what do I need to look for, right? What am I doing
Because we
next?
buy and sell cars 7 days a week.
That's
right. So let's go to the territory manager side of things, right? They're out there, they're pounding the pavement, they're knocking on doors. How are we helping them as well, with, putting deals together, or like you just said, you have to get a territory manager involved. Kind of break down that. How does that work?
100%. And that's what we're most looking forward to in the way that our IST team is built right now, is that with you having that designated buyer rep around, we know that, hey, we might have a new lister coming along. We're going to have more inventory coming around here. How do I get our immediate audience in the area engaged? We reach out to our buyer rep. We let them know. And we work with our dealers to make sure that they're getting notification on the cars. They're getting text messages.
Right.
And maybe it's a little pestering sometimes, but we'd rather...
We're in the car business. That's what we do.
We'd rather it be on that side, right? We'd rather you see it and say no than miss a car.
No, totally. So I always like hearing success stories, right? Give me just one success story of a buyer that was like, you know what, I don't like buying online. Because listen, there's some out there, and I respect it. They still like to touch and feel. They still like to be the hands-on. But there's got to be a success story out there, Tyler, that you've won a guy on that's like, I love ACV. Without giving any names, just give me a success story.
It's great that you brought that up because I just had one recently. A gentleman I spoke to down in Oklahoma area.
Okay.
And that was exactly it, right? He had been buying cars at auction for 30 years, he told me.
Wow.
He was the self-proclaimed mayor of Oklahoma.
Okay.
Everybody knows him and all that good stuff. Yeah. And he gave it a shot, and he was still a little hesitant at first.
A little scared,
And he worked with his buyer rep, and he made sure that he had good filters. He was seeing the kind of inventory that he told us he wanted to. He wasn't going to be caught off guard with something that was showing up for him. If he wasn't there sitting looking at the app, we set it up to make sure that he was going to get alerted when those cars showed up.
Got you.
And
Now let me stop right there. How'd you alert him? How did he get alerts?
he got an alert through his phone, which he was very opposed to at first, and
Yeah.
we won him
Okay.
over
Just wanted to
because
make
we
sure.
knew that
Yeah.
he was missing stuff. So
Yeah.
he was getting a notification on his phone popping up, letting him know that there was a vehicle running that fit his interest,
And he liked it.
and he liked it, and he bought in, and now he is one of our top buyers in the entire state.
So you had a 30-year in the lane veteran that was like, Tyler, I don't know about this, to being one of the top buyers on the digital platform now.
Yeah.
If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does.
Absolutely, and it's an ever going story that we're looking at, right? It's a new process.
Right.
It's technology and things that we just have been doing for a really long time.
Right.
That we're just trying to make better. We're trying to make more efficient.
Yeah.
How do I get you as a buyer to be spending more time at your dealership, to be
Right.
paying more attention to
Right.
what's going on
Yeah,
there?
and change is scary, right?
Yeah.
You know, so and I'm picking up on words that you say. You talked about filters, right? You set his filters up. Break that down when you say filters for people that don't really know the inner workings of the ACV marketplace. What a filter does for the buyer. Expand on that.
A filter is you telling us the type of vehicles that you want to see. You want to have an opportunity to win. So that could be as basic of a make, year, model. That's all great, and
Yep.
that does make a difference.
It does.
But you go a little bit deeper
Sure.
than that, right?
Yeah, you want to see more.
So we're going to start looking into the true condition of that vehicle, right? So on a rating of, are you willing to take a vehicle that's got some minor body damage?
Sure.
You got to shop, you're going to put it through and do what you need to
you're
do.
gonna do some recon on it.
You'll take anything with a transmission issue. You know you're going to get it at a nice price, and you're going to
Some people love them.
do what you need to do with it.
Yep.
Or I'm absolutely not going to want to touch those.
Right.
You set your filters up the right way from the get-go, and that's how you are able to be effective on the platform, right? That's gonna let you be super efficient with your buying process. You're gonna be looking at CRs when they come up and going through them,
Right.
but you have the confidence behind you of, I'm only looking for certain things right now, because I
Exactly.
know the rest of it, that's over
Yeah,
here.
no,
That's
no,
out of my
yeah,
view.
Yeah, yeah. They like certain makes, certain models.
Mm-hmm.
You can break down if you want Ford, Chevy, 4x4, red, gray, whatever you want, right? And also your IST team knows what that buyer's looking for based on those assumptions, and he'll also tell the person, this is what I like, this is what I want to buy, and they can also help vet those cars for them as well, correct?
100%. And the 2 points I love pointing out to dealers and our buyer reps to this point is if you have a customer that comes in that's looking for something that's a specific need, you can use the filters in that way as well.
That's
an
huge.
easy way to help you on the
That's an easy
retail.
win. Yeah.
Easy win on that side.
Yeah.
And the second one is that, as we said before, you can't actually be on the site 24/7.
No, you can't, no.
There's going to be things that we miss, things that get launched in an area we may not have been looking at, depending on what you have set up. Our buyer reps are getting to a point now where we know that we have unsold vehicles that have run with us every single day. There's a home for that vehicle. We just got to find it.
I love it.
So now our buyer reps are also being tasked with trying to find unsold inventory that runs on ACV and find a home for it. Hey,
So they'll vet that buyer. They'll call that buyer and say, "Hey, you might have missed this opportunity. I'm letting you know this car's out there."
Yeah.
And how, like, you were to call a buyer, how do they like that?
boy, do they like that. Talk about adding some service, right?
That's right. Exactly.
I'm seeing vehicles that I wouldn't otherwise have seen because you sent it to me.
Yeah.
Because now I have a vested interest in my ACV experience and what I'm doing with my buyer rep and what I'm telling them are what my needs, right?
Yeah.
I know that the further we dive in with the buyers, the more we're gonna understand of what they're actually looking for, right? And how that changes, because it's not a stagnant thing. It's gonna change over time depending on the time of year.
Exactly.
As we move
100%.
forward.
Yep.
And as we can really get in tune with that and continue to have those discussions and have that understanding, that's where we see the wins.
So you're really breaking it down. You're breaking down how we can help the buyers, how we can give them more inventory. I always say every day's game day with ACV, right? The availability to go through, source inventory, and also that have a good inside sales team, which you guys are accommodating. The biggest thing, the biggest takeaway you want people to get out of this podcast for buyers, what is something you would say? If there's something you just really want to get out there and say, hey guys, this is what you need to do to make it happen, what would you recommend?
My biggest recommendation was take the chance, buy in, give it a shot, and play with it a little bit. So we see this with some of our most successful buyers on the platform right now, that they started that process, they spent some time setting some filters, getting notifications set up, and it was good, but we fine-tuned it a little bit. We made sure that every single
In
time
the
something
passenger
was showing
seat
up, they
with
knew
ACV.
they were going to want to bid on it.
Yeah.
That's maximizing your time, that's being really efficient, and that's using the tools that we have. We have some great tools here.
We really do. We do.
If you use them the right way.
Exactly. And you not only going to help buyers get inventory, but you're also going to help educate them onto how to properly use the ACV marketplace.
Yeah, and that's why we love this idea of our buyer rep, right? We want to be inventory management specialists for our dealer partners.
Love that title, inventory man. I love that. You patent that. That's awesome. Well, good deal. Well, Tyler, once again, tell buyers how they can get signed up, how they can get on the platform. Give us one more plug before we close this thing out.
It's as simple as and easy as going to acvauctions.com, hitting the sign up button, giving us a couple pieces of information about your business, and then you wait for our call.
That's it. Tyler, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Always
in
a
the
pleasure.
passenger seat, man. Once again, thank you, and I'm sure we will circle back and talk again.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, buddy.